Hi everybody, this is Mr. RV. I'm going to show you two completely different ways to make a three-dimensional round shape using modeling of light and dark and the other using one-point perspective. All right, let's start with the one-point perspective. Oops. I'm going to create a horizon line high up on my page going side to side. I'm going to make a vanishing point way over on the left. And the next thing I need to do is draw a circle. You could trace something. I'm just going to, I saw this method. This woman was using it in one of her videos for something. And I just thought, wow, that really helped me. It isn't necessarily absolutely perfect, but boy, did it help. I just hold my pencil just above the page, move my hand in a round shape, round and round. And when I feel like I'm getting nice and round, I put my pencil down. I'm going to repeat that over here because I'm going to make two of these, even though they will be done in a very different style. There. Circle one, circle two. We'll turn each of them into three-dimensional forms. One of them will seem like a disc. One of them will seem more like a sphere, sort of basketball or baseball shaped. All right. For the first one, and this is a lot like drawing the letter O if you watched that video, I'm just going to create a series of small lines that go from the edge of the circle, and all of them point towards the vanishing point. And I'm going to make each of them the same length. I think I'll do like ½ an inch. So I'm lining this up, pencil on vanishing point, ruler on pencil. I want to get to touch, so it just touches the edge of the circle, and I make ½ an inch. I chose ½ an inch arbitrarily. ½ an inch. I like this because the lines are going to end up giving me a guide so that I get the same curve on my back edge of the disc as I have on my front edge of the disc. Anything you're drawing that is disc shaped, this would potentially help. Notice that every single one points towards that same vanishing point. In one-point perspective, a lot of your lines will go towards that one point. All right, there we go. Now I have all the ends of these. I'm just going to sort of connect those. Something you might want to notice, or you might note, the back edge, like over here, this might seem a little smaller. That makes sense. We want things to seem smaller as they go back in space. Okay, so if you were making if you were doing words and you wanted a period, so you needed a dot, you could create your dot this way. I could add some tone. If the sun is up here in the sky, we're going to say it's shining bright in the sky. I would make darker as it's further away from the sun. I'm going to try to keep to those curving marks. Get a little tone going across there. A little light on the top where it would hit directly. The sunlight would hit directly. And I'd have a little dot for a period or a circle for something that might be round. I could certainly add a little oval-shaped pool of shadow underneath and around it. Notice I went up to the bottom of the back corner and rub that in. I'm going to get a little tone up here to make the white really pop out. And then I'm going to fix that up there to just make my lines a little cleaner. There you go. So there's one way to draw it. I will mention, here's a little trick, if you want this to seem like it's in the air floating, let's get rid of this shadow for a moment. When you draw in the shadow on the ground, don't let them touch. So I'm just going to make an oval here. Notice I'm using the side, it'll be easy to smear. And easy to erase anything that I need to erase. The shadow being on the ground, I'm going to make this be a little bit longer. The shadow being on the ground but not touching makes it seem like the object is floating in the air and there's space in between the object and the ground. Could be useful, especially again if you're making a period in the middle of a group of letters and you want the period to be up higher. All right, let's go to this one. We have the second circle. This is a whole nother way to get a three-dimensional form. And this depends much more on light and dark and really not so much on angles. But we're going to say that the sun is coming from here. We know that this area is going to be bright. So I'm going to start by just making this dark. My finger's already got some chalk, some pencil on it, but I'm going to add a little bit more. Notice I'm using these round, curving marks, and I'm using the side of my pencil. I really, really, really need these to be easy to erase. I will say that this exercise is, I think, easier with chalk pastel than with pencil even, but it works well with pencil. So I'm just getting a dark round shape. Now, put the edge back in there. You can see I am not the most even of hands, and so my lines are not so perfectly round, but hopefully that'll work well enough for now. Now I'm going to take my eraser and I'm just going to erase in some light over towards the sun area. I'm going to make sort of an ovally roundish shape. I want to get rid of that line. I find the line was overstated, getting in the way. Now I'm going to get really hard and erase really hard and really try to get that right over there. I'm going to get a little bit of shadow, smearing that around. My goal is to have a really light area and then a slightly light gray area around it, and then medium gray, and then I'm going to get some darker gray down here, which is furthest from the sun, or whatever your light source is. Again, notice I'm using the side of my pencil. I'm not using the point. I'm just using the side to get that smoother, more easily pushed around, smeared around, and more easily erased sort of mark. And I'm trying to keep to a sort of curvy shape. I'm trying to get that roundish feeling, and I want to get a smooth gradation. So you barely notice where it goes from light to medium light to medium, and on until you get to the really dark areas. All right, I'm going to use my eraser to clean up some of what I have. I don't want any stray marks making people think that my perfect round sphere is anything less than ideal. We're creating illusion here, and sometimes you have to work really hard to make the illusion seem simple. I just want to get that edge cleaned up. I feel like that's a little too dark down there. I think if I'd been a little slower and more gentle in putting on the tone, I'd probably have a better gradation. It'd be a little softer and more convincing. But I rushed because I tend to be a little on the impatient side. I have seen students who are so much more patient than me, and some of them have gotten some beautiful, patient elegantly done results. But I will say that people who, are a bit more impatient, like myself, sometimes get just as compelling a result. There's just a lot of ways to work and a lot of ways to be, and getting them your ways to work for you is part of the best part of the trick. All right, I want to get a little shadow down here. I'm going to make a little oval. If the ball is on the ground, then the shadow will touch the little ball. I'm using the side here, and I'm going mostly away from, I want the shadow to go sort of diagonally away from the sun. So it seems like the ball is actually casting the shadow. I'm going to make the shadow slightly darker close up. Sort of a shadow within the shadow. And I can even get a little hint of light bouncing back onto the ball. All right, not amazing, but there you go. What do you need? Again, start with that medium gray. Erase in some light, add in some dark. You now have 3 tones. Once you get 3 tones, if you can go from the light and the dark, and you can get some of the dark to blend to become a medium dark, and some of the light to become a medium light, you've got 5 tones. 5 tones. I think with 5 tones, you're pretty well on your way. Anyhow, play around with it. Again, light, medium, medium dark, and really dark. There you go. Have fun. Choose kindness. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.